Good morning, everyone. This is Joanna Ruth from Low to Zero Carb.
Story changers for low to zero carb. Listen to Joanna tell you about how changing your story can truly change your
If you're
life.
interested in fasting or high-fat carnivore or just generally getting rid of the psychology that is stopping you from moving forward like you see everybody else doing, I'm your gal. So I specialize in story changing, and I am just now, I know it's taking me a while, uh, contacting people who I have met, particularly at Carnival Live, and then ongoing, I'll be contacting other community leaders to introduce them to story changes for low to zero carb. So here's a black and white copy of the presentation that I'm creating. There you go. Essentially, what I'm trying to introduce to them is that the epigenetic factor of making carnivore work for you is really important. And what they're providing in their communities, all of their content is essential. You need to know what to do. You need to know why to do it. You need to know how to do it. You need to know when to do it. All the details, all the physicality is really important. And there is probably about 70% success rate for people just generally who understand, follow the instructions, get the support, keep on track and keep doing it. So that proves, pretty much to me, it proves that carnivore works. It works for 70% of the population. Now, what's the matter with the other 30%? What's the matter? There's nothing really the matter except for we all have genetics. It all gets turned on and off according to our environmental factors. It's called epigenetics. Why is it that of the percentage of women who have lipedema in their genetics, why is it that not all of them manifest lipedema in their body? Why don't the genes get turned on for everyone who has the gene? Because that's how our bodies work. Epigenetically, which is the physical environment and the mental environment that we have, turns on and off our genes. This is where miraculous cures come from, where people let go and all of a sudden their cancer goes into remission because it was what they were holding on to in their mental part of their selves was manifesting something through their genetics. So this is how things work. It's very hard for the mainstream to accept this, and it's very hard for humans to accept this as how it works, because if we don't have a reasonable, easy to access, easily understandable solution, we don't want to accept the problem. This is what happens with most allopathic physicians or general practitioners of medicine. If they don't have a solution, they don't want to think about the problem. So I'm here to tell you that there is an easily accessible solution that can work for everyone. And it's basically called, by me, story changers. So our psychology, our mental selves have stories. We all have gazillions of stories. And most of them work for us perfectly. Take, for example, driving a car. Have you ever learned to drive a car? Was it a long time ago? At what point did you stop learning to drive the car and now you're just driving a car? So the timing doesn't matter, but what does matter is the point between being a learner and being a doer of that learning is when it became automated. And we all kind of understand this, that we automate things. This is why young children who are learning can't do everything that adults can do, because they haven't automated everything. They don't understand the whole context of how everything works. And this is why children need to be protected and need to be assisted and supported in their learning. And at some point, they stop being a child in learning about life and they become an adult where they're just doing life. And they're doing life based on the stories that they have created and confirmed and collected over time in their childhood. Now, this doesn't just stop at childhood, this continues on. The media and the advertising industries are very, very successful in creating stories for adults, because there are adults who grew up with a different story about, say, food from when they grew up. They're running a different story now. And they've believed the new story that's been provided by the advertising for the commercial companies that make food. So why would they tell us over and over and over again that carbohydrates are essential when the fact is, there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Fat's bad for you. Is it? It's got so much nutrition in it that makes it flavorful that most people who are on a restricted vegan or vegetarian diet think their food tastes like cardboard. And they have to add even more, like more spice and more herbs and more flavors and chemical enhancers of flavor. Why? Because they took the fat out. So we know the truth. And there are many people on this planet who knew the truth. Then they got persuaded of a new truth, new story. And now they're trying to make their way back to the old truth. They're trying to let go. I had the problem with salt. When I first went keto, I got really intense blood pressure rise because I just could not get myself to eat enough salt. Not because I couldn't eat it, but I couldn't think the right way to eat it. This is the power of the story. I just came off 40 years of a story that told me that life is hard, full of pressure, and no emotional support. And that, for me, manifested in being obese and having lipedema and a whole lot of other things that came from that. And then I changed the story. And all of a sudden, my body doesn't need the fat. My mind doesn't need it. My mind perceives that it doesn't really belong and it needs to go. And so it's easy to take the actions. So this is what I do. I help people change the story, and I'm hoping to help more and more people in the low to zero carb space to change the story that's stopping them from getting the results that they want. Here's a playlist for the entire series. Please like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. See you in the next video.